Every year, the Toronto region welcomes half of all immigrants who arrive in Canada. As a city, we are home to the second highest population of immigrants worldwide, surpassing Sydney, Los Angeles, and New York, and trailing only Miami. Nearly 44% of the GTA's population and 47% of the city of Toronto is foreign-born. These newcomers bring with them a vast array of languages and cultures that enrich our society and create the very fabric of what our city's motto is today: diversity, our strength. Of the 1.8 million immigrants who arrived during the 1990s, 17% were school children aged between 5 and 16. In the city of Toronto, about 1 in 4 of all children aged 5 and 16 were immigrants who arrived in the 1990s. In Markham, Richmond Hill, and Mississauga, newcomers make up about 1/5 of the school-age population. Therefore, it seems natural that the most common barrier immigrants and their children face in regards to establishing themselves in Canada is that of language and culture. These barriers carry through in all areas of a newcomer's life, including that of school. However, it is well documented that in order for any child to succeed in school, parental involvement is vital. As a result, teachers of immigrant children, as well as the newcomer parents themselves, no matter where they are from, find that language can create a challenge when it comes to parents taking part within the school system.
waxaa jiro markii aan Soomaaliya joognay iyo markii wadankan la yimid especially markii lagu cusbaa wadanka ama waalidka markaas luqadii aan aqoonin waxaa hortaagan derbi adag oo uunan ilmihiisii iyo macallinkii waxaa laga yaabaa in macallinkii wax uu sheego uu weydiiyo in ardayga ilmahaagii uu qaldan yahay aad u tagtid macallinkii aadan fahmin wuxuu ku dhahay okay ama ilmihii bay ku turjumaan so lack of language waa dhibaatada ugu weyn oo maxaa marka ugu horeysa naga haysatay macallimiintiina markay arkaan in waalidiintii waalidkii ardaygaas uunan xaqiisana aqoonin ama xaqiisa uu ka hadli karinba wuxuu rabo in markaas ay ka qaadan jireen advantage laakiin marka cabaar sanooyin la sii joogo waxaan u maleynayaa waalidiinta qaar ma aha in markaan luqadii aqoonin aan hay'adadan waxba fahmaynin wax waa fahmaynin laakiin luqadii hadeenan aadan fahmaynin waxa ay weydiinaysid ma ku jawaabi kar xataa hadaan fikradda adduunyada ugu fiican aan wato so marka dhibaatada ugu weyn oo haysatay taas waaye ilmaheeni iyo macallinkii communicationkiisa inay ugu yareeyay
waxay ila tahay kuleyba fikrad ahaanteyda dadkoo dhan inay wixii immigrant inay ku dhaceen annagu teena ogsoonahay laakiin dadka kale inay noocaas kale ku dhacday inta annaka haysto kale ku dhacday sida annaka qaarkeen aan luqadda u aqoon ayaa dadka qaarkood luqadda u aqoon u dhibaysay dhaqanka wadanka u dhibaayay aysan aqoon badan u lahayn marka inta annaka qabsatay ogsoonahay in la mid ayaa ku dhacday immigrant kale naga soo horeeyay ama naga dambeeyay
waxaa keeni karta waxaa jiray runtii annagu markaan wadankan soo wada galnay dad wada dhigala lama ahayn dhaqamo badan oo kala duwan wadankeena iyo luqado kala badan oo kala duwan waa lagu soo bartay waxaa laga yaabaa waalidkii maxay tolo xoogaa waxna u bilaawayaan laayeen oo xoogaa aqoon lahaa fahmini kara macallinka inuu kaga yeesho asagoon waalid ahaan ka fiicnayn waalidka kale tolo inuu xiriir fiican la yeesho sababta way isfahmayaan waalidkan asagoo waalid fiican ah jecelna inay ilmihiisa wax bartaan jecelna inuu macallinka xiriir fiican la yeesho waxaa laga yaabaa jaanisku inuu saamaxay sababta ma isfahmi karaan marna haduusan jirin kiigi luqad waxay noqonaysaa furihii u kala furaya macallinka iyo waalidka xataa inay isfahmaan marka waalidkaas xiriirkiisu wuu fiicnaanaya sababtoo ama wax buu qori karaayo qoraal uu ugu dirsan karaa haddii kale wuu u tegi karaayo wuu la hadli karaa xiriirkii marka ardaygii iyo macallinkii markay dhibaato iskuulkii ka dhacdo ardaygii asagii oo dhibaataysnaa waalidkii uu ku soo laabtay gurigii uusan jirin waalid inta raaca ilmihii si fiican macallinka isu fahmayaan mar walba ayaga marka annaga waxaan noqonaynaa victimska dhibaatada annaga nagu dhacaysa marka waa inuu waa ka xiriir fiicnaanaya dabcan waalidkii ardaygii waalidkii maxay ahayd tolo fahmi kara luqadii oo macallinkii xiriir fiican ay yeelan karaan sababta waalidku ma wada xuma macallimiintuna ma wada xuma laakiin haddii bay jirtaba wax aan la isku fahmayno luqad ah xiriirku dabcan waa xumaanaya markaas
बस यही करना चाहिए सबसे पहले तो कि वो कुछ इस तरह का इंतज़ाम कर दें कि मुख्तलिफ़ ज़बानों के लोग आते हैं इंडिया से आते हैं वो हिंदी बोलते हैं पाकिस्तान से आते हैं उर्दू बोलते हैं सोमालिया, श्रीलंका, मतलब मुख्तलिफ ज़बान के लोग आते हैं, तो थोड़ा सा अगर वो उनकी हेल्प के लिए एक इंटरप्रेटर की वो कर दें अगर इंतज़ाम, तो दोनों के मसले जो हैं जल्दी और बेहतर तौर पे हल हो सकते हैं।
I think the biggest barrier is language, you know, and if you don't have somebody in the school, like we're fairly fortunate here, but in some schools when there's nobody all day who can speak the same language as this parent, it must be awful for them, you know, even to ask a basic question. You know, I think that must be the number one barrier for them. And maybe having more parent nights where you've got staff and at least or an administrator and somebody who speaks the language of the predominant group in your school, to have, you know, question and answer periods where they have questions they can ask them. You know, they can, you know, tell them a little bit about the school, about the board, give them the information in their own language. You know, we there's a tremendous cost every time we send out a newsletter because we get it translated into all different languages. But that, I mean, it costs the school quite a bit to have that done every time. But it's, you know, it's really important. I think that's the biggest barrier. I think once you can communicate with them, they're great.
Not only can teachers help in translating, but parents can as well. By using the resources we have in our communities, schools can benefit from having bilingual parents act as language and cultural liaisons by sharing their language abilities with other parents and educators. In addition, parents are made to feel welcome and are therefore able to build a role for themselves within the school community.
والله أنا رأيي إنه اللغة هي أساس الكوميونيكيشن وأساس التفاهم بين الشعوب، واللغة وإعطاء المجال للآخر سماع الرأي ورد الرأي أيضا. فرأيي شخصي قد يكون متواضع، لكن هذا رأيي إنه المدرسين الكنديين they are also multicultural, not only the family, because the teachers themselves are part of family. فلذلك أنا رأيي يقول لو جت والدة أو والد لا يستطيع التكلم، فعلى الأقل يستطيع أن يقول he is Arabic or he is Punjabi or Indian. ممكن يكون في داخل كل مدرسة على الأقل إذا ما يوجد مدرس يتكلم هذه اللغة فقد يكون مترجم أو على الأقل فولنتير. أنا شخصيا وضعت اسمي في ثورنكلين على as volunteer لكل العرب. أي واحد راح يجي جديد راح أكون أنا as much as possible to translate what he wants to say.
One school has taken a unique approach and encouraged the students themselves to inform their fellow students, parents, and school staff about issues within the school in both English and their home language.
Marina, could you talk about the newspaper?
We started it in one of our high school, and our idea was to cover with some discussion topics the big population of Russian-speaking community, start from the school and then go and help their parents too, because it looks like 40% of schools speak Russian, but when we organized something like Russian club, it was only 8 nice kids, and all problem kids, I don't know, found other places to communicate and their own, you know, topics to discuss. So this is why we decided to start with paper in Russian and with translation each article in English. Then we had some other languages who decided to join our project. So it now looks like school newspaper, but it was initiated by Russian-speaking students. We try to discuss their school problems, you know, youth problems, newcomer youth, school problems, etc.
Parents and teachers can also make use of resources outside the school itself.
I think having the different community organizations involved,
Okay.
that's a big help. Because if we have a situation where we need specific type of counsel for kids, we have people who can just, you know, pick up the phone and they'll write in. And I think that's really important. And they'll also see the parents. If the parents need counseling, it's there for them. They can come into the school and talk to a social worker or whatever.
So I was just going to say, another thing that we do is for interviews, we do make sure that the parents are always offered an interpreter if they would like. And that works out very well for a lot of parents. You get a lot better communication, and there's ways that we can't really help that an interpreter can. And I found that very helpful. And also on the phone, if the parents can't make it, they've got work and stuff.
Maybe I'll ask for a social worker to come and assist, or whatever it is, some other resources if I'm not able to deal with it on my own as a teacher or as a settlement worker. In some cases, if there is open communication with the parent and there is a chance for reaching a reconciliation, then by all means I would involve the parents. If maybe also proactively, if I'm sensing that there is a gap of communication between the parent and students, then maybe there is some sort of support that could be called for in place before a crisis even happens because like if there is really a blockage or a discontinuation of communication, then that's an environment which is very much suitable for a crisis that's going to happen sooner or later. So why not sort of deal with it before it happens and try to involve the parent in some, I don't know, maybe like there could be a community partner that's offering some courses on the Canadian environment, maybe some English language courses, maybe some parenting courses, workshops, and working with the student on the same time.
And I think that if two are not understanding each other, and they'd be at a standstill, I think that it's important that all teachers know that there is somebody else in the school that can intervene or help. So my recommendation would be, if you feel you're at a standstill and things aren't working, let's go somewhere where we can get some help together and find out what to do. And then from that, I would be looking at setting up some kind of a coaching, peer coaching, peer mentoring system in a school for teachers that weren't comfortable with that kind of interaction.
Not only can schools offer teachers written materials about different languages and cultures, but they can also offer students and parents a wide array of resources. One such way that has made a tremendous impact has been the use of dual language books. Such resources can create a positive and welcoming environment for newcomer parents and their children, by viewing the first language as a resource rather than an impediment to learning.
Now, in our resources, we're very fortunate to have books that parents can share, or their grandparents, because here in this school we have a lot of grandparents that are caregivers for the children, so they could go to the library and get books that are in both languages, and they can read that book to that child. And they'll be in Mandarin, and here we have some resources here with tapes and that they could borrow and read with the children.
Books in our library, a great selection, and I think parents are so excited when they see that. And they're books that we have, like Spot, which are very popular English books, but they have English on one side and the native language on the other side. So we have those kinds of books in a number of different languages. The kids feel excited, the parents feel excited, and it makes them feel that they're important and part of our life here. And we've had some groups that have come in recently and we haven't had enough books, and they feel slighted because we don't have, for example, our Turkish community has started to grow here, so they feel, we should be buying more of the Turkish books, and look at all the Bengali books here or the Urdu books you have here. But it's important for them to feel that they're part of it, and to invite them up to the library and say, we have these for your kids, and for those ESL kids as well, that there's something that they can read and they can share at home, and their English friends can read as well.